Chosen ones. 9 miracle symptoms revealed during the 40-day supernatural Mercury Cazimi Portal. In the quaint English village of Ashford, nestled among verdant hills, whispers of divine miracles began to ripple through the air. Sarah, a devoted mother perched on the brink of despair, found herself at the heart of a heavenly mystery. Her son, little Tommy, lay in bed, battling an illness that twisted with his every breath. Doctors had puzzled, their somber faces offering no solutions. But as day one of the Mercury Cazimi Portal dawned, a spark ignited within Sarah's weary heart. What if divine intervention awaited them? The first miracle unfolded before Sarah's very eyes. While kneeling at the church's altar, fog enveloped her in a warm embrace. She gasped as a radiant light enveloped her, casting shadows that danced like celestial beings across the stone walls. The stillness was thick with anticipation, and Sarah felt the weight of prayer lifting her soul. Could it be? Hope surged through her as tears streamed down her cheeks. Perhaps a miracle is not so far-fetched after all. She held on to the thought. Days passed, each filled with signs woven into the fabric of her everyday life. Sarah noticed a robin outside her kitchen window, its vibrant crimson breast glowing brighter each day, a symbol of hope for her family. She heard whispers among villagers, sharing stories of sudden healings and unexplained phenomena. "It's the portal," they exclaimed. Small miracles layered upon one another, offering a crescendo of faith that sparked laughter, joy, and renewed strength within the tight-knit community. Then came the night of prayer, where voices rose in fervent harmony, calling upon the heavens for Tommy's healing. As they gathered in the candle-lit church, the atmosphere thick with reverent faith, Sarah glimpsed a flicker of swirling light. Above her was a sign. Shivers ran down her spine as a palpable energy washed over them, igniting their hearts. "Please, Lord," she whispered into the night, "show us the way." Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. However, the darkness clawed back at times, insidious doubts weaving through the fabric of hope. Each miracle, each tiny wonder, seemed a mere thread against the mounting despair of Tommy's condition. The medical prognosis offered no light, only shadows. Inside, Sarah wrestled with a storm of disbelief, questioning the very essence of her faith as she watched her son suffer. Then came a surge of clarity. 9 unique symptoms of miracles began to unfold before her, etched in her heart and mind. The smile on Tommy's face after a prayer, the warmth in the embrace of her fellow believers, every moment sparked a longing within her. And yet, just as she began to anchor hope, news arrived of Tommy's worsening state. His breath grew shallow. As the congregation prayed, tension thickened like a heavy fog. Sarah's heart raced. Her pastor's voice soared, painting vivid images of healing saints, yet she trembled. Doubt remained a lurking shadow. Was this all a divine riddle? As the clock ticked quietly, she felt a gravitational pull towards answers, a revelation dancing just out of reach. The village's collective faith stood on the precipice, spirits entwined, awaiting the next miracle. What awaited Sarah? Would her spiritual journey yield the answers she sought, or was it merely the flutter of hope in a fragile heart? The divine seemed poised to make its decision, lingering in the air, a question more potent than any prayer. The night deepened, wrapping Ashford in a blanket of stars, twinkling like the promises of heaven. The hushed voices of the congregation muted the soft rustle of leaves outside the church. Yet inside, an air of expectancy crackled like electricity, each breath filled with prayers dancing around them, weaving a tapestry of desperation and hope. Sarah was anchored to her pew, staring into the flickering flames of the candles, each one flickering with the pulse of their collective faith. Her heart carried a weight that felt almost unbearable as she clenched her hands together, whispering softly, "Lord, grant us a sign, show us your mercy." Just as she surrendered to her despair, a whisper of serenity washed over her, as if the very air was animated with a divine assurance. In that moment, she remembered the robin, a vivid memory full of joy and courage. That little bird defied the dreary winter, bringing a hint of spring's warmth. Perhaps that is the sign, she murmured to herself, lifting her gaze to embrace the gentle flickers that danced around her. But doubts continued to flutter in her mind. Was she merely grasping at straws? Each day, sadness had darkened Tommy's eyes further. The village rallied around her, lifting their voices and hearts in unison, a chorus of faith that sought the very heavens. They had a bond, each member standing firm in the storm of uncertainty. Yet as they prayed, Sarah couldn't shake the gnawing fear that perhaps their prayers would go unanswered. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder rattled the windows, jolting Sarah from her reverie. Gasps erupted around the church. The storm outside matched the tumult within her. The pastor, sensing the tension, raised his hands, urging calm with his warm voice. "Fear not, my beloveds, for the Lord hears us. Let every drop of rain be a tear replaced by the joy of his will." His words resonated deep, rattling through her heart. A flicker of faith ignited within. She would not let despair take root. Each member of the congregation seemed infused with renewed fervor, chanting louder, their supplications rising like incense. Then it happened. A brilliant flash of light burst through the high stained glass windows, illuminating the church. For a fleeting moment, Sarah felt as if she were suspended between heaven and earth, the warmth of love enveloping her. Within that radiant glow, images began to swirl, wonders of healing, promises of peace. It felt as though God himself had folded the fabric of reality, offering them a glimpse of his kingdom. "Tommy," she breathed, her heart racing. Perhaps the miracle was near. Yet as quickly as it appeared, the light dimmed to a whisper, the congregation left in a haze of awe. Silence fell, with every heart straining to sense the divine aftertaste of that moment. Sarah's pulse quickened as she saw their collective breath, an echoing hope that surged despite the darkness lurking beyond their immediate view. But what was to occur next? The horizon of her faith lay unsettled, an uncharted territory. Would their prayers yield the miraculous healing they sought? Amidst the lingering whispers of the divine, Tom's shallow breath echoed in her thoughts. Would this night offer clarity or deepen the mystery? As they all held their collective breath, on the edge of revelation and despair, one question lingered in Sarah's heart. What was the true nature of this portal, and what miracles lay in the dark shadows yet to be unveiled? The village remained on the edge, waiting for the dawn that might bring answers, or perhaps the true calling of their faith. The air thickened with anticipation as the congregation slowly recovered from the divine moment that had enveloped them. Faces that moments ago were etched with worry now glowed with a flicker of hope. Sarah could feel a sacred energy coursing through the room, mingling with the echoed remnants of the light that had passed among them. Her heart fluttered, caught in the web of possibility. "Let us gather together as one," the pastor's voice rang out, steady and resolute. "Let us embrace this moment, for we are not alone. We are chosen to witness what God is about to do." The warmth of unity wrapped around them like a cloak. They shifted closer together, hands clasped, hearts racing as they anticipated the arrival of something magnificent. Sarah glanced around. Eyes once burdened with despair now radiated a glint of newfound trust in the divine. The gentle echoes of whispered prayers melded into a powerful harmony, each voice a note in the grand melody of their shared faith. It was as if each person was a stitch in a larger fabric of devotion, bound together by unyielding belief. "Raise your voices. Let us declare our trust," urged the pastor, inviting them into an exaltation that felt like a thrilling ascent. As they began to sing, their hymns rose to the heavens. It was a song that wove through the chaos outside, blending seamlessly with the rain that fell heavier, almost rhythmically, upon the church roof. There was a moment of exquisite harmony where the raindrops and their voices created a sacred symphony, echoing the love they felt within their community. In that moment, Sarah felt her burdens lighten, if only for a heartbeat. But doubt lingered in the corners of her heart, whispering caution against the euphoria swelling around her. What if the light they had witnessed was just that a fleeting glimpse, a mere trick of the senses? Could her longing for a miracle be so strong that it clouded her ability to see the truth? As if sensing her hesitation, a soft glow began to reshape the atmosphere. This time, it was not blinding. Rather, it was inviting, like dusk cascading softly over the horizon. Sarah's breath quickened again as she strained to understand its significance. The long shadows seemed to dance across the polished wood of the floor, surprisingly thrilling in their movement. The pastor called out, "Open your hearts. Do not shy away from this flicker of light, for it surrounds us in this very hour." In that very moment, something spiritual unfurled within Sarah. Could they be truly witnessing the beginning of their liberation? Could this light, this sacred essence, be an answer to their prayers? Tentatively, she stepped forward, her fingers brushing against the nearest candle. With every step she took toward the altar, she felt the stirring of faith rising within her, mingled with an urgency to share the life-giving warmth she felt entering her very soul. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows at the back of the church, a child, no older than 6, with wide eyes filled with wonder. He took slow, deliberate steps towards Sarah, his small hands stretched out, beckoning her. "Did you see it?" he cried, his voice ringing with melodic clarity, pure and untainted by fear. "The colors. They dance for us. They told me that everything is going to be okay." His innocence washed over Sarah like a balm. She felt hope swell fiercely within her heart, igniting a sense of certainty. Perhaps the child was a messenger, a harbinger of a truth she had long yearned for, but had struggled to believe. "Let us believe together," she declared, raising her voice above the hymn. "For miracles are among us, and we are not alone." A collective murmur of agreement rolled through the gathering, reinforced by the sound of the rain tapping against the windows, harmonizing with their faith as it crescendoed towards something yet to be revealed. It was as if the very air shimmered with possibility that extended beyond the church walls, wrapping around the whole village. But within that divine atmosphere, Sarah couldn't shake a haunting realization. What if the awaited miracle wasn't merely visible healing? What if it lay deeper, within the uncharted recesses of their hearts, waiting to be uncovered? With a resolve, now trembling with anticipation, Sarah nodded. The dawn might bring answers, or may simply beckon them closer to the mysteries that awaited them. And as the congregation's voices rose to a fervent height, one question lingered in the air. How would they recognize the miracles when they arrived if they transformed their world in ways they had never foreseen? As the last notes of their song faded into a sacred stillness, the air grew thick with expectation. Sarah found herself unable to look away from the child before her. His unwavering conviction anchored her restless heart. "Tell me more," she urged quietly, kneeling slightly to meet the child's gaze. His emerald eyes sparkled with a light that seemed to mirror the glow surrounding them. The colors were everywhere, he exclaimed, his small hands dancing in the air as if attempting to capture the vivid memories. They were smiles and laughter and love. They said we should never forget who we are. The congregation fell quiet, captivated by the child's innocent proclamation. Each word hung in the air like golden threads, weaving a tapestry of hope and remembrance. It sparked an ember of revelation in Sarah. The miracle they sought might not just be an external change, but a revival deep within their spirits. "Tell us, little one," chimed the pastor, his voice softening. "What do you think we are?" The child tilted his head, a smile brightening his cherubic face. You're chosen, just like me. The colors are like God's love, always with us, ever bright. If we believe, we can see them. Sarah felt the warmth of agreement ripple through the congregation as they nodded and murmured in awe. She understood now this wasn't just about witnessing a singular event. It was about recognizing the everyday miracles that dance around them, if only they dared to open their eyes and hearts. A soft breeze stirred in the church, as if the walls themselves were sighing in relief. Around them, the flickering candle flames began to flicker even more intensely, casting their glow onto faces filled with anticipation. With each passing moment, the weight of doubt lifted, replaced by the exhilarating rush of divine connection. Let us lift our hearts further, the pastor encouraged, his voice rising with each word, and recognize these moments. We are surrounded by the gift of faith. We are invited to step into the divine dance of life. As soon as the pastor's words settled in the air, Sarah felt a powerful urge to share. What if we began to speak our truths, to voice our pains and joys? She called out, her voice ringing through the dimly lit sanctuary. What if we welcomed the presence of miracles by sharing our hearts? One by one, people began to rise and share their stories. John, a middle-aged man, stood up and, with eyes shimmering with gratitude, spoke of finding hope after years of struggle with depression. I realized that I wasn't alone. The love of this community lifted me, even when I couldn't see it, he declared. Then Mary, a single mother, shared how the warmth of shared meals on desperate nights comforted her soul. You all are the colors. You make my days bright, she said with tears streaming down her cheeks, a mix of joy and relief lighting her face. With each shared story, the atmosphere became almost tangible, saturated with the essence of collective faith and the dawning realization that their lives were more than mere existence. They were the living testimony of the miraculous in the ordinary. The child clapped his hands, bursting with excitement. See, just like the colors dancing. The pastor raised his arms. This is what God wants from us, to embrace our stories, to weave them into a grand narrative of faith. Together, we rise in his light. In that moment, all doubt faded. Sarah felt a tide of joy and shared spirit race through her, lifting her higher. As she looked around, she realized that they were no longer just witnesses. They were co-creators of their miracle. And just as the last word resounded, a thunderous clap of thunder echoed outside, shaking the walls, gently a reminder of the storms they had endured and the calm that comes after. But amid the jubilation, a question still lingered in the hearts of the congregation. Were they ready to step forward into this new light? And would they recognize the unfolding miracles awaiting them on this journey of faith? What wonders might dawn upon them as their journey continued? Just as the echoes of thunder settled into a serene hush, a palpable transformation enveloped the church. The congregation, now energized and bright-eyed, felt the collective courage surge among them. The colors the child spoke of danced visibly in their hearts. Sarah could hardly contain her emotions. Hope shimmered in every soul gathered there. Let us embrace this moment, the pastor declared, his voice calm yet resonant, threading through the now pulsating air. God has gathered us here for a purpose. Let us draw closer to one another and seek his guiding light through our unity. As they formed a circle, hands clasped and hearts open, Sarah felt a rush of warmth. It was as though they were building a bridge to something divine, a connection that transcended their physical presence. She closed her eyes, surrendering to this sacred moment. Lord, she whispered, let our stories blend into your great tapestry of love. Show us the miracles in our everyday lives. The words held such conviction. They seemed to breach the heavens themselves. The child, still sparkling with life, began again. Miracles are all around us. It's not just the big things. It's the kind words, the shared laughter, the warmth of a smile. I saw them everywhere. Just then, the pastor opened his eyes and shared, in this very circle, we become witnesses of change. Every prayer, every tear, every shared joy strengthens us. We are the colors. We paint our lives with God's masterpiece. Encouraged, John stood up again. You know, I always believed miracles were far away only for the special. But here, in our stories, they shine bright. His voice trembled with fervor. I can feel it. I can feel him. Yes, cried Mary with newfound enthusiasm. It's like the colors burst forth when we're together, like the sunrise after a long night. Every heart is a paintbrush, every experience a stroke defining who we are. Caught in the momentum, others joined in, recounting instances of unexpected kindness, glimpses of divine intervention, and unexpected blessings. Laughter filled the church as stories intertwined, creating a beautiful symphony that resonated deeply within each listener. Yet, a gentle reminder shivered through the group. The wind outside had picked up, rustling the leaves, drowning out their exuberance momentarily. Their laughter faded into thoughtful silence, revealing the depth of contemplation that rested on each heart. Are we truly ready? Sarah pondered aloud. What if our openness brings forth trials too? Are we prepared to face the storms even as we embrace the light? The atmosphere shifted. The weight of her words settled heavy in the room. The child, unfazed by the gravity of the moment, simply smiled. We have each other. Even in storms, we can still see God's love. With those innocent words, hope flickered anew, illuminating the contours of uncertainty. The pastor gently nodded, sensing the moment's depth. Indeed, we must dare to embrace the whole journey through light and through shadow. Our stories are woven together, and every miracle is a stepping stone to the next. And with that, the congregation's hearts intertwined in solidarity, ready to face an unseen future. Yet, the question lingered in the air, unanswered: what challenges might arise? What colors of faith would they meet as they ventured onward, unafraid into the unknown? The miracles were unfolding, but the journey had only just begun. Would they find resilience in their shared vulnerabilities as they stepped forward together? The air in the church felt electrified, almost alive, as Sarah opened her eyes. She looked around and caught the gaze of her friends. Their faces were illuminated with anticipation and a touch of wonder. The child's innocence hung in the atmosphere, a gentle reminder that faith often thrived in the simplest of truths. Together we can face anything, the pastor continued, his voice a balm upon their stirred hearts. God speaks to us in whispers, in the sacred pauses between our breaths. Let's embrace this stillness and allow His Spirit to guide us into what lies ahead. As they held tight to one another, Sarah felt the warmth of shared hope and determination. A whispering breeze danced through the windows, carrying with its sense of blooming flowers outside a sign of new beginnings, perhaps. Let us meditate on what the next step might be, suggested John, his earnest expression drawing everyone's attention. How can we be the miracles we seek? Mary chimed in, her eyes bright with inspiration. It's in our actions. We can start small. Share a meal, lend a hand, speak a kind word. Each act is a reflection of the love we've received. Echoes of agreement pulsed through the circle. Yes, others echoed in unison. Let us be the vibrant brushstrokes of God's love. Yet, beneath the vibrant exchange lay a current of apprehension. As laughter ensued, a shadow flickered behind each shared story. The trials they had faced, the doubts they had conquered, loomed softly in their hearts. I've navigating storms alone before, confessed a woman named Grace, her voice barely above a whisper. But in that loneliness, I found His strength. Even when I doubted, I felt His presence guiding me. It was painful, but I learned His love never falters. Tears glistened in her eyes. A reflection of her struggles turned into beauty. Your struggle is not in vain, the pastor affirmed, gently acknowledging Grace's vulnerability. Remember, in our weaknesses, His strength is made perfect. Each scar tells a story of resilience and beauty. Through them, we shall grow. The child, their small voice rising above the murmurs, proclaimed, "Stories are colors. They make the world bright." Sarah smiled, feeling a rush of warmth at the child's joy. It's true, she thought. Our stories, woven together, can form a canvas, creating something beautiful to share with others. As they shared their stories, winds swirled outside, carrying a sound they could almost hear like a distant symphony. Suddenly, the church door rattled, catching their attention. Sarah's heart raced. Was it a mere gust, or was it the breath of something greater urging them onward? The pastor stepped forward, sensing the shift. Would it be just like God to send us a sign? One that shakes our foundation and calls us to action? Anticipation quivered through the congregation, each heart beating as one. They felt every moment distill into something sacred. The promise of miracles danced tantalizingly close. Are we willing, he asked, to take this leap of faith into the unknown together? As they pondered the pastor's challenge, the air grew thicker with both hope and uncertainty. The invitation stood clear. Step into a journey that could lead to trials, but also yield unimaginable blessings. Sarah's heart raced not just with fear, but with excitement as well. Could they truly embrace the call to be the miracles they sought? Were they ready to dive deeper into faith, to color their path with divine purpose, even amid the storm that may come? And with that thought, the wind calmed. Silence fell gently, a breath of expectancy filling the space. In the depths of their hearts, an echo grew, repeating the question what colors would emerge from their next step, and how brightly would they shine together. A hush enveloped the church, wrapping around each soul like a warm blanket. Sarah felt it, a collective breath held in reverence. The pastor's eyes sparkled with hope, and his voice resonated softly. Let us weigh the depths of our faith. Are we ready to step forward into the promise that awaits us? She could see it now, the flicker of certainty igniting in the hearts of her friends. Together, they were on the cusp of transformation, ready to embrace the miracles that stirred just beyond their reach. I believe we can start right here, right now. Sarah ventured, her heart steady, emboldened by their shared energy. What if we set aside our worries? What if we devoted this week to being a blessing to someone else? Each act of love draws us closer to our own miracles. John nodded vigorously, his enthusiasm infectious. Yes, we could organize a community dinner, invite those who might feel lost or alone. Visions of laughter, shared meals, and bright smiles began to fill Sarah's imagination. The flickering light from candles cast gentle shadows on the walls, dancing along with their dreams. Mary added, and we can each bring a story, a testament to the love that has carried us through. Stories are powerful. They bind us together. The pastor smiled, a warmth radiating from him as he gently interjected, our stories, friends, are like beacons. They shine light in dark places. When we share them, we reveal the fingerprints of God in our lives. Just then, the door creaked open again. The distant sound of laughter and conversation began to drift in, drawing the congregation's attention. It was as if the world outside had tuned into their sacred moment. Sarah could feel the energy surging, a pulse of divine connective spirit coursing through the room. A man stepped inside, his weathered face carried tales of struggle and survival. His eyes flickered with recognition as he scanned the room, landing on Grace. I heard voices, he said, his tone a mix of hope and hesitation. Is there a place for me here? The congregation instinctively shifted, hearts swelling with compassion. Always, they responded in unison, a chorus of acceptance. Sarah gestured for him to join their circle. The pastor's eyes glinted with understanding. This was precisely the divine interruption they had awaited. Grace rose and approached the newcomer. You're home now, she breathed, her voice a reaffirmation of belonging. Around them, others gathered, welcoming him into their fold. Sarah's heart exploded with gratitude. Witnessing this transformation was like watching a flower bloom after the harshest winter. The pastor stepped back to address the room again, his voice echoing against the stained glass. Friends, we are embarking on a journey. Each act of love becomes an invitation for others to find their way home. 2. Miracles are initiated in the simplest gestures. Let us leave no heart untouched. And it was in that moment Sarah realized their vision had expanded beyond her imagination. Each heart involved sparked a deeper unity. The conversation rippled, fostering new connections. Tensions melted as laughter echoed, environments shifted, and souls intertwined. But just as the church basked in the collective elation, a new thought flickered in Sarah's mind. What awaited them beyond these walls? Would they encounter challenges that tested their resolve? The world outside remained unpredictable, and she realized each miracle would likely require every ounce of their faith. Still, a fire ignited within her. They had a mission now, a divine call to serve and reach out. Together, she knew they could navigate whatever lay ahead. Could they truly be the change, the miracles they felt so deeply? As their plans settled within, a new chapter waited to unfold, rich with expectant hope. Would they be brave enough to step into the unknown, trusting in the promise of the miracles yet to come? In the days that followed, an unshakable energy pulsed throughout the church. Each gathering felt sacred, every moment ripe with potential. The air was thick with faith. It wrapped around them tightly, promising hope and connection. Sarah could sense that their journey had only just begun, and their mission would soon reveal its depth. As the sun began to set on a warm Thursday evening, the community dinner was set to unfold. Long tables stretched across the church hall, each one adorned with simple, cheerful decorations, fresh flowers, cloth napkins, and flickering candles that whispered of warmth. Laughter mingled with the scent of hearty food being prepared in the kitchen. It was a beautiful chaos, the kind that brewed excitement, but also a flicker of nervousness. As she busied herself setting up, Sarah felt the weight of their shared commitment. Would they meet the people who came there to feel the warmth of Goddess love? Would they recognize healing in one another? The cook was slicing bread, while Mary tucked strands of hair behind her ears, her cheeks flushed with anticipation. John's enthusiasm was contagious. He organized the seating in a way that ensured everyone could connect, regardless of background or story. "Is it time yet?" John asked, practically bouncing on his toes. Sarah smiled, almost. Just a little more time to prepare our hearts. She pulled everyone together, a circle around the tables, hands clasped together. "May we be humble and open," she prayed quietly, feeling their hearts resonate in the stillness. "Let us remember that each person who walks through those doors is cherished and loved. May our words touch their spirits, and may they find hope in our stories." As whispers of amen filled the air, the doors opened wide. One after another, individuals filed in, some hesitant, a few jubilant. There were smiles, warm greetings, and an electric exchange of energy. Sarah greeted each newcomer, her heart swelling at the contrast between each life. Each person was a story in motion, a universe of experiences longing to be shared. They gathered around the table as the food was served, and soon the hall vibrated with conversations, laughter soaring toward the high rafters. Every bite was savored. Every anecdote shared was a thread weaving them closer together. People began to open up about struggles and triumphs, a tapestry of human resilience that echoed the pastor's earlier words. Moments of silence, punctuated with spontaneity, emerged, the echo of laughter, a sigh of relief, a shared tear. But amid the cheers and friendly exchanges, shadows lurked. Sarah's gaze often found the quiet man she had first welcomed. As he observed from a distance, she sensed a longing, perhaps for acceptance, perhaps for a spark of belonging. She made her way to him, seated alone, and gently asked, "What is your name?" "David," he replied softly, almost embarrassed. "Welcome, David," she said with a smile that was meant to encourage. "This is a space to share your story if you feel ready." He looked into her eyes, And in that moment, something shifted. The room around them faded, and a flicker of vulnerability ignited within him. I haven't shared much lately, he whispered, his voice breaking. I've been lost. I understand, Sarah replied, her own heart aching in empathy. But here, you're not alone. Here, we find our way together. As she stepped back, the gathering shifted its attention to David. There was a pause, then a soft voice arose from the crowd. We've all felt lost at one time, someone said, and one by one, they began sharing fragments of their journeys. A beautiful inflection of connection wrapped around David, tugging at the seams of his guarded heart. He looked around, saw acceptance reflected back, and transformed. Yet as light filled that moment, a flicker of unease remained in Sarah. What would happen when the evening ended? Would David take that step into the world beyond? Would they all carry this spirit of togetherness into their lives outside these walls? The evening drew on, friendships budding, stories blossoming, and hope weaving their tapestry tighter. But within Sarah, a seed of curiosity had been planted. What lay ahead was still uncertain, but one truth shone bright. They were gathered as a family. Their commitment was deeper than they had imagined. Each moment was an opportunity. And now, with a space carved out for those who felt lost, she pondered how would they embrace the unexpected challenges that would inevitably arise. Even as laughter bubbled around her, the weighty question lingered: how would they carry their newfound spirit back into the world, where darkness often overshadowed light? Did they hold enough courage to shine brighter than the struggles that waited? Little did they know, their strength would soon be put to the test. As the evening faded into night, so too did the gentle veil of security they had crafted together. Would their faith remain unshaken in the trials to come? Only time would tell. The night deepened, and the church hall glowed with a warmth that contrasted sharply with the cool night air. Conversations flowed like the river of life, each word shimmering with sincerity and shared experience. As laughter echoed, Sarah glanced at the faces around her. Each person was a patch in the quilt of their community, each story a thread weaving them together in a dance of divine purpose. But the flickering shadows of doubt clawed at Sarah's spirit. She observed David, whose earlier trepidation had melted into a cautious hope. People had wrapped him in tales of their struggles, and for the first time in a long while, he smiled. Yet, there remained a caution in his eyes, a lingering fear that perhaps this moment of connection could slip away, like grains of sand through one's fingers. "Can we pray for David?" someone suggested with a voice soft yet confident. Instantly, the room hushed as if time paused. The shared concern hung in the air, an invisible thread binding them tighter. Sarah felt the pull in her heart. "Let us lift him up," she breathed, her voice brave but filled with tenderness. They encircled him, hands reaching out, encompassing the warmth of safety and divine love. As they prayed, Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the rhythm of each heartbeat vibrate through the circle. The prayers were unpolished yet pure, an outpouring of raw faith. She could feel the charge building, like an electric current in the atmosphere, each uttered prayer fueling the fire of hope. "Lord, may David feel your presence," one voice spoke boldly. "May he know he is not lost, but rather found within this family." Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, not just for David, but for the tenderness they were all experiencing. It was a revelation. Often, it is through our collective vulnerability that God's light shines brightest. Each prayer echoed the depths of human emotion, intertwining their journeys, fights, and faith, generating a profound strength through love. As the final amen resonated, David opened his eyes. A transformation flickered across his face, a mixture of surprise and wonder. He stood taller, as if the weight he carried had been lifted, even if just a fraction. "Thank you, all of you," he murmured, his voice breaking the silence, trembling with gratitude. "Tonight was just the beginning," Sarah said, her heart ignited by newfound passion. "This isn't just a dinner, but a doorway and invitation to walk together through life's wilderness." As they resumed their conversations, A bolt of excitement surged through Sarah. Each story shared, each struggle revealed, was like a peeling back of layers. They were beginning to see the deeper purpose of their gathering. People moved from casual conversations to heartfelt discussions. One person opened up about a marital struggle. Another shared the heaviness of losing a job. Sarah listened, her heart intertwined with their burdens. They were not just sharing stories. They were stitching beauty into their community fabric, every shared tear, every laugh, a thread drawing them closer together, creating a tapestry filled with the colors of faith and resilience. Yet, as the evening wore on, a gentle whisper tugged at her spirit. What happens when they face trials again? Will the bonds forged in one night hold against the storm? The question loomed, a reminder that the true test was yet to come. Just then, John burst forth with a cheerful voice. What if we meet again next week? Keep this energy alive. Cheers erupted, excitement bubbling as they all grasped the idea of creating a rhythm, their own spiritual gathering, a refuge against the challenges waiting beyond the church doors. Let us bring more people, John added, brimming with a contagious spirit. Sarah's heart raced. The room glowed with joy, each face radiating a light that shimmered like the candles on the table. Yet beneath the excitement, she felt something deeper. They were on the brink of something monumental. She sensed that their next gathering would not only test their faith, but would open doors to unimaginable possibilities. As the evening drew to a close, they laughed and embraced, sharing their plans for the future. But within Sarah, a new question began to form. What challenges awaited them come next? And would their collective faith be enough to forge through the storms? The night air lingered with the fragrance of promise and potential, but uncertainty hugged at their hearts. Whatever was lying ahead, one thing was clear: they were on a divine journey. Their next meeting would be more than a gathering. It would be a catalyst, igniting change and sparking transformations. Would their budding connections withstand the trials that surely awaited? The answers hung like stars in the night sky, waiting to be discovered. As dawn broke over Ashford, the first rays of sunlight streamed through the church windows, illuminating the worn wooden pews where the community had gathered just a night before. Sarah awoke with renewed expectation, her heart teeming with hope. The connections forged during the dinner felt almost tangible, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Yet, as she took in the beauty outside, the shadows of uncertainty still lingered, whispering reminders of the struggles that lay beyond their sanctuary. That Sunday morning, the congregation flocked to the church with a palpable energy, charged by the promise of a new beginning. Sarah felt her pulse quicken as she entered, the air thick with shared anticipation. Would the joy of last night's revelation endure? Would those fragile threads of faith, sewn together through prayer and storytelling, hold firm against the challenge of a new day? The pastor stood at the altar, a beacon of light with an encouraging smile that seemed to draw everyone in. Let us rejoice today, for we have witnessed the miracle of connection. He began, his voice resonating against the sanctuary's stone walls. Our gathering was not merely an event. It was a moment where love poured forth and filled every heart. But we must remember that faith is a journey, and with every step, we may face trials. Sarah absorbed his words, her heart echoing with his wisdom. Each individual seated around her, young and old, carried struggles that could easily eclipse the faith they had ignited together. Yet she also felt a weight lift, a realization that they were not alone. Today, the pastor continued, we will speak of embracing our trials and recognizing the grace that lies within them. Suddenly, the doors swung open, and a small group entered, their expressions a mix of hesitation and curiosity. Sarah recognized one of them, a woman from town known for her fierce independence, who rarely sought support from others. Her heart raced at the sight. This was a test of the very spirit they had aimed to cultivate. Would they welcome this group with open arms? Come in, you're part of this family now, Sarah called out, her voice cutting through the stillness, an invitation that set the tone. The congregation turned, smiles blooming like spring flowers as they beckoned the newcomers forward. The warmth spread as they welcomed those unfamiliar faces. It was a groundbreaking moment, a testament to the deeply unconditional love they were beginning to cultivate. As they settled down, the pastor spoke of resilience. Life's tests often provide opportunities for growth. Sarah thought of David and how vulnerable he had been the night before. She glanced around, realizing these new arrivals, too, carried burdens that could, with faith, be transformed into strength. There were stories shared that morning of heartache, loss, and victory. Each testimony was a brushstroke on the canvas of faith they were creating together. The woman Sarah recognized spoke up, her voice wavering but determined. "I've been running for so long, convinced I had to do everything alone. But maybe I'm ready to embrace connection." Tears pricked the corners of Sarah's eyes. There was the miracle, the fragile act of vulnerability paving the way for healing and transformation. Others followed suit, sharing pieces of their lives filled with struggle but also hope. The pastor lifted his arms, heavenly light reflecting off his face. This is the heartbeat of our community. In sharing, we embrace our collective truth and remember that amidst the trials, we are surrounded by God's love. As the Sunday service drew to a close, the congregation found themselves amidst another prayer circle, hands clasped tightly, hearts intertwined in an unbreakable bond. Sarah's spirits soared as they all prayed together, filling the air with a sense of belonging that crackled with possibility. The pastor concluded, his voice ringing out with conviction, "Go forth, people of faith, carry this light into the world, and remember that even through trials, miracles await. Your stories matter, and in them lies the transformative power of love." That day, as Sarah stepped out into the crisp air, she felt a resolve settle within her. They were no longer a collection of individuals. They had become a community, a living testament to miracles blooming through shared faith. She glanced at the horizon, beyond the verdant hills where new challenges lurked. Yet, now she held a certainty deep within her heart. They would face these challenges together, fortified by a spirit that radiated resilience. The journey they were embarking on was clear. It would be filled with trials and tribulations, but they were armed with the strength of unity and the healing nature of shared experiences. Sarah breathed deeply, a smile on her face, as she whispered to the wind, "We are chosen. We are miracles in motion." And as she turned to walk alongside her friends, echoes of laughter floated through the air, a promise that the divine was manifesting in every moment. Together, they were ready to recognize the unseen miracles that awaited, braced to illuminate their path with faith and love. Now, my dear friends, it's your turn to join this incredible journey and witness the manifestations of miracles in your life. You need to subscribe now to this channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about the impact of this ending on your faith journey. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful manifestation of community and divine love. Together, let us spread the light.